Alright, well, I'm tearing apart the diesel heater again. I thought I might be able to get to it from the top, but we're just going to pull the whole damn thing. I don't want to do this twice. So we'll pull all these 10-meter bolts down here, and then we can get it out of the frame, and then we can pull it out of the rest of the plastic. Alright, so now we just, normally we would just leave the cover on it. We had a couple of wires here. We need to disconnect a few things, but let's just get this up and out of this thing. Okay. So you can, look at that, that thing's cooked. You can just disconnect it right here. They use automotive style connectors, so now we have this whole thing here. I believe, well, this would be, I'm going to put this back up in here. But yeah. They're pretty flimsy. Kind of like how they make their Chinese welders. So there's a computer in here. There's a temperature sensor here, and there's a glow plug there, and there's a fan down here. But what we need to do, I scraped a lot of stuff out of there, almost enough to where I was like, this thing might actually start, and I know better. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take all these out of here, and we're going to set it on the ground down here, because it's going to be easier. So I forget what size Allen wrench I need. Well, 5/32 fits it, but I guarantee you that's not what it is, because the Chinese don't copy our stuff that closely. So we got there's going to be like 4 of these damn things. We need to get that out of the way too. And you need to be careful of the gasket when you take it off. Otherwise you're going to be having to order one, and they're not real good quality. So this is pretty much a yearly thing now. I think I bought some bad diesel though. I think that's the reason why it's acting up. But it doesn't really matter. It's not that hard to do, I just don't like doing it. I don't know what the hell I did with another screwdriver. Okay. Now, you can do whatever you want with these, but if you hook them up wrong later on, you will be sorry. I've done it before. We're just really concerned about this combustion chamber, and I'm sure once you see it, you'll understand why this thing doesn't work and why yours doesn't work, because you're watching this video because yours doesn't work and it's cold out. And they only seem to go bad when it's really cold, because I think the fuel does different stuff. I mean, the nice thing is you can almost always just clean them. But I think the reason they get clogged up is just a manufacturer's defect. Okay. Alright, so there's that part. Okay, now the real crap is down in here, guys. And you need to get your glow plug out of here. Let's get this gasket. You got to get your glow plug right here. This is where the problem area is, usually. But you're gonna have to get a wrench in here and undo this glow plug. That means you're gonna have to have that unplugged. And then this piece will have to swing through here when you remove that. That's the combustion chamber. Okay, so we're gonna go get let me just see if I can bust these loose or not. Okay, we're gonna get these loose. You gotta be really careful. These are like in between size. Like they strip out super easy. Mine are kind of loose. Let me go get a wrench. I believe it's going to be a 10 or a 12. All right, so it's a 12 millimeter. Does not want to come out. And I'm trying not to cut myself. There we go. It says 8V on it. Don't know what that means. You should be careful not to break your wires when you remove it. Because you'll have to order a new one. I don't know what they charge for them anymore. Okay. Doesn't look too bad. So now we got to get the combustion chamber out. God, these are so cheap. I should look and see if I can replace them. Now, these heaters, I think they're kind of expensive when they're not on sale for how much trouble they are. And also, on Amazon, you can't return them usually. Certain ones you can, certain ones you can't. Okay, the shorter screws are for this, so keep them separate. Okay, you guys ready? You see that? That's why it won't run. Yep. Now, we're just going to go clean that off somewhere else, but let me really show you. It's probably coked up in that screen down in there. You got to pull that screen out with needle nose pliers. Okay, we cleaned it out. If you look right here, you see that? That's where it does its swirling. So, the rest of this is critical too, but not as bad. But so watch this. There's something in there that's acting like plastic. So anyway, you get the idea, right? So don't worry about getting it too clean, because you're still going to have to do this again in about a year. I mean, it just doesn't seem to matter. I cleaned it really thorough one time. Another time I just kind of did it just a little bit. And it lasted the same both times. About a year. I almost feel like it's the fuel that they start using in the winter. Different stuff. But anyway, just get as much of it out of there as you can. If you really want to, you could pour some diesel in it or some gas in it or, you know, something. But I wouldn't get too excited about it. Okay, so once you got that all cleaned out, you know, now you got to get the screen out of here real carefully with a pair of needle nose pliers. Okay, so when you get the screen out of there, it's going to look kind of like that. I wish this thing would focus. So you're going to kind of reach in there like that. You're going to put it back in there the same way. This one's not too bad, but sometimes they're completely clogged. And that's the part where the fuel collects on. And the glow plug screws in to the center of that. So when you put it back in there, you need to make sure you try and wallow it back out so it's round again. So now we're just basically ready to put this damn thing back together and do it again next year. They don't really have good deals on these. Otherwise, I would try different ones. They all, to me, look like they're all the same, but they might not be. I don't know. Let's see how well can you guys see what I'm doing. Make sure you get that gasket. You do not want to forget the gasket. Do you see how crappy this thing is? So there's a little plate here. Mine was coming off. I actually had to do a little tack weld to it. So just make sure you get that line in there like it's supposed to be. And then remember, it's the shorter bolts, I think. Yeah, because these are too short for that. So just be careful with these. I don't know what size they're really supposed to be. Some 4 or 5 millimeter maybe. But I'm using a Bond Haas 5/32, so it's got the ball end on it, and that seems to work the best with this thing. But when you get one of these that are new and you have to open it up, like mine went bad after 3 days, these will be in really, really tight, so just be careful. Because although they're like really soft metal, I wouldn't want to be drilling them out. See, here's one here that almost never came out for me. I remember that one when I first did it. So, see if we can zoom in here. You guys can see a little better what I'm doing, assuming I stay out of the camera. And get them all in there first, because you may need to get it, jiggle it to get the last one to go in like I just did. So don't tighten them all until they're all in there. So there's a number on here I see. It says ZN 2022. This one is not wanting to go in, guys. It's not happy about something. Now I know they sell bigger ones, and I would say that that might be more reliable, as I think the area in these are just too small. Okay, so I'm trying to see if maybe The threads are funky. It got to right here and it doesn't want to go further. Oh, you know what I just did? I was totally not paying attention, guys. God, I just grabbed all of the wrong ones. I grabbed all the wrong ones. They're too long. Good Lord. It's cold out here and I'm just kind of like, my back is hurting really bad right now. I was like, that thing's threaded perfectly fine until it got to right about there. Like, what's up with that? So yeah, just don't mix these things up. Be a dumbass like me. I see a number on the front of these. It says TFF or something. Let me see if we can, we'll get one of the other ones. Let's see if we can identify it on the camera. It's claiming to be 8.8. TDF? I don't know. Something Chinese. Alright. So, let me get all these tightened up. I should have just paused the damn video. It's like, because now I'm at the point where it's like, okay, it won't really make a difference. It's already wasted a bunch of time. I hate editing videos too because you try and make them shorter, cut pieces out. See, that just spun with that. So I'm gonna have to go get a different Allen wrench that doesn't have the ball end. So I'll be back. I'll tell you what it is in metric. Alright, so it ended up being a 4mm, but it really feels about the same. Okay. We'll do that to get them snug. Okay. It's an old mechanic's trick, you know? So we got that. Let's get our glow plug in here. Kind of spin it in there, get it started. It's a 12mm, so I'll do that off camera. All right, we got that. Let's get our other gasket in here. All right. Everything looks good there. Right. Try and get the holes lined up. Jiggle them in. Okay. If you really have to, you may have to like lift up this thing to make sure you clear the gasket. But I mean, you won't be able to screw these in by hand if the gasket's in the way. So screw them in by hand. Okay. Now snug them. We're getting ready to put the computer back on. Now, they use these connectors on this, guys. They don't make sense. So what they did was, this is a 3-pin connector, but it's only got 2 wires on it. So you need to make sure you know what's what, and it's in Chinese. So you would have to translate this. But this one only uses 2 wires also. But you can see this one can only go on this one. And the MO on here is written in red. Probably by me. As we get this one here, that's our temperature sensor. It's going to go on like that. It overhangs on that connector. I don't know why they wanted to do that, but that's how they chose to do it. And then the motor's right here. And then that goes right there. Then we put our screw back in there. I can figure out where to put it. The reason they put that there is because the fan will keep that cool. I haven't ever heard of anybody really having those go bad, but I'm sure they certainly do. That tucked over there. And now we're ready to put the rest of it back together. Okay. Wasn't that fun? I like to use some kind of bench like this. I'm gonna put this thing like that. Get it all dropped in, but we have to put this back together first. So we're gonna need to do this. Drop that in there, put that through there. Just make sure you got this thing in the right spot so this isn't going to hit. Then you put this filthy dirty cover in it because it's got so much fingerprints on it from the last couple of times it's been done. It's got a little lip right here. So make sure you catch the lip on it. And then they're kind of crappy how they do them. So just make sure that you got it straight and everything's lined up. Okay. So now we're getting ready to go back in. So I'm gonna first plug in this connector, and now depending on how you route this, if you have one of these that leaks, which they do, that'll get all over this, so you may want to reroute your wires in a better position. You need to make sure that I like don't care about the wires themselves, but I don't want my connector getting soaked. So once that's in like that, kind of deal with the rest of this last, because there's a piece that goes in between here. And actually what we need to do is come in here with the 10mm bolts on the bottom side. Right here, there's like a rubber gasket that this thing sits on. And you may have to wiggle it around and do all sorts of fun stuff to get them to start. You can even just do this. Put it upside down like that. While we're in there, we can put our fill line back on, hopefully. This line is getting heat soaked, I think. It's kind of not wanting to do anything. Okay. Now that is the clean one, is the intake, so that's okay. You just don't want to be too close to that one. Okay, get another 10mm bolt in there. Where's our other one? Lovely. I always lose something, man. Like, how the hell did I lose the other bolt? I dropped it. So yeah, every year I end up having to do this. It's fun, fun, fun. All right, we got that. Now we have to be mindful of this. Okay. I'm gonna flip it back up, and then we get a plate that comes over here. And this thing slides down into a lip on here. Just gonna clear that one in the front. Get these other ones that will go through here. Now this thing is really, really rinky dinky, so just, you know, yeah. It's like giving me some grief right now. We have a few things that have to go in through this hole here. Come on, man. Good Lord. This thing, these things are so freaking cheap, it's like ridiculous. So come on, man. Get in there, Jesus. It's like they're just like they don't want to go in. Okay, we have a fuel injector wire that was stuck underneath the cover that I wasn't paying attention to, so that was an issue. Okay, so now we got that. And the main, this line actually is supposed to go through here. Some of these, I guess they used like really weird lines. Get that. God. Well, these wires are really like in my way down here. I don't remember them being that bad before. So yeah, I mean, they just end up getting filthy after you work on them a few times. Alright, we're gonna bring it back in and fire it up. So another thing I like to do before is put my exhaust on before I bother trying to put it in there. So my exhaust is going to go this direction, and you want to get that thing on there really tight. You don't want it leaking. You get in between this thing right here. I can barely see it, but you want your clamp up in here, and also throw away the clamps that they give you because they won't work. They're gonna break. Get a good automotive grade clamp. If you need to, put a ratchet on it. So I like to get that part done first, so that way I don't have to try and do it later. Okay. All right. Let's give it a go. I got to run a screw into that block of wood here too. So, it should be good for another year. Unless I actually really do have bad diesel, then it'll probably plug up in like a week. And I've had that happen too. So, if you got one of these, learn to work on it, because, I mean, it's worth it. Unless something else comes along that is built a little better. There really isn't much of a choice. There's a German one that's like $800 and apparently has no problems, but you know, these are like $100 or less usually. So you just have to be mindful that you're going to probably end up having to take it apart unless you only use it for 6 months. So once it starts clicking and going like that, you will eventually hear whatever. You can see the metal here in there. That's what it blows around. That whole thing, that chunk, that thing is heating up and getting hot. So the combustion happens inside of it. It sucks air in from the pipe over there, blows the exhaust out. So as long as you have that done properly, you're never going to have any kind of smell or smoke. If you do, you have a leak. And that happens too. But usually, if you do have a leak, the soot will close the leak up pretty quickly. It's also normal to smell some funky crap after you've worked on it. So, and as soon as it fires, you'll hear it catch. And it will attempt to try and start 2 different times. So, we should be hearing it in a second. There should be a temperature indicating on here too, and we're not seeing that yet. So, usually the glow plug will bring the temperature up, I think, before you hear it ignite. So it's possible there you can break those taking them in and out too many times. There's a bunch of things that can go wrong. The first time starting it's probably going to take a minute. You may have to do this more than once, or it might just fire right up. You hear that? It's burning. And once you hear that noise, you have ignition. But sometimes it'll go back out. And if it does it too late, the computer only runs for a certain cycle. And if it doesn't catch in time, it'll just return an error code. Either an E10 or an E08 or something like that. And I think that most of the controller part is in the head on the face, which is technically remotable, but they don't give you enough wire to move it anywhere. Now, certain kits do. You can hear it kind of change. And then it'll ramp up to get to a desired temperature that it thinks it needs to be. And then once it's done, it'll kick back down. And you really don't set the temperature on these. You set the fuel pump rate. And whatever that, you know, they're not thermostatically controlled. They do have like a cool down and warm up thing like you hear it doing right now, but they don't really, you can't, on these ones you can't really set it as a thermostat. I understand there are some that do that. It's a little stinky. We're getting into the yellow on the thing. So to go green, green, yellow, yellow, or something like that, and then red. We get a little bit of warm air so far. So I originally got this for free from Amazon because it quit working like 3 days after I had it, and there was a no return policy. If you buy one of these and you don't have Amazon Prime, I believe you could get really screwed. I believe you could get really screwed if you don't want to work on it, because they don't have to take it back on most of them. They say no returns because they're hazardous. And it makes sense. They don't want you to send this thing back because it's had diesel in it. It's dirty, it's greasy. So see how it kicked down? So now it's going to be at whatever I've got it set to, 2.2. Now, I don't know if there's a certain... So this is P. This is like, it's in hertz. So the frequency is 4.1 hertz, and it goes all the way up to 5.4 hertz. That's the frequency of the fuel pump. It's pulsing the pump. And then right now where it says 7, that's just how many minutes it's been running. It doesn't really give you much of anything. You can hold that down and change that. This will illuminate the display. I don't know. There's a lock and a passcode you can put on it too if you really want to. That's time. I don't know. That is. And it says it's 16 Celsius. It will tell you the temperature it detects in Celsius. There are certain ones that can convert that read Fahrenheit, but reality is, like I said, it's worthless because you can't set it as a thermostat. But cool, we got 2 red bars. Yeah, we're pumping out some heat. So I'm gonna back it down to like 4, and then you're just gonna let it run. And hopefully we don't have bad diesel, because I don't want to do this again. Thanks for watching, guys.